Good morning, and welcome to another EIA Lunch and Learn presentation. My name is Kamish, and I'll be your presenter for today. So for today's topic, we're simply just going to be speaking about mastering work-life integration in today's workplace. So with this topic, for the next few moments, we're just going to tackle two different types of ways that we're able to integrate, to blend, or just to balance, our work life and our personal lives. All right. So to start things off really quickly here is I found two quotes. So the first quote that I have here is bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. So that's the first quote. And the second quote says, time is the most valuable thing a man can spend, or a person, sorry, can spend. So within these two quotes, one says that you are the pilot. Second one indicates that time is very valuable. So if you are the pilot, trying to say that you are in control, and that time is very valuable. So essentially, what they're saying is you are in control of your time. And so if time is this very valuable commodity that you can't get back and that you are in control of, my question to you, or my question for you to ponder for the next couple seconds, as a group, how are you spending your time? How is it that you're spending your time? And so there are two different areas that we spend our time in. The first one is our professional responsibilities. So that's our jobs, our careers. And then the second one is our personal lives, which involves our family, friends, hobbies, interests, and things like that, right? So these two different areas of how we spend our time, right? How we spend our valuable time. And so what we're looking to do is how can we achieve balance between these two things, um, using this method. And so we're actually going to talk about two different methods today, and everyone is different. So one method might work for one person, another method might work for another person. But again, we're going to speak about two different methods of how to achieve this balance. And then we can do a little discussion at the end. So the first one is work-life integration, right? And that second one is work-life balance. So these two are very similar. However, they do differ in how they are achieved, right? So again, this might look different for everybody, but we'll start out by defining both terms. So the first one we'll start out with is work-life integration. So work-life integration simply is centered around the belief that there is no distinction. Okay, there's no distinction between the two, and between the two are professional and professional, and that they coexist in harmony. Okay, so there's no distinction between the two. These two coexist in harmony, joined together, and are not separate. Okay, so that's work-life integration. And so the second one we have is work-life balance. So now the definition of work-life balance is keeping your work life and your personal life separate. Okay, so for this one, we're looking at um, a separation between the two. So personal life is here, and your professional life is here. These two don't join together. There's, time spent over here, and then once you're done here, we shift over, and there's time spent over here. Okay, so there's no intermingling of the two. Excuse me. So let's talk a little bit about work-life integration. So for work-life integration, again, it's quickly defined here as it says the blending both personal and professional responsibilities, right? So again, there's harmony between the two. Now, the biggest advantage of work-life integration is flexibility. Now, what do I mean by flexibility? So, flexibility is being able to do both, right? So, with that integration, with that harmony, we're able to merge the two and it's not separate. So, we're able to do a little bit of work while being able to also do a little bit of our personal. So, what that might look like. Um, for those of you who might be wondering, is let's say completing household chores when on a conference call, right? So you're working at home, you have a big conference call, a meeting, you're able to listen to your meeting on your laptop, computer, whatever it is. But then as you're doing that, listening, you are, tidying up the home or whatever, you're tidying up the house or whatever the case may be, maybe cooking dinner for the kids or whatever it is. But the two are working together, right? The professional and the personal. Another one could be bringing your kids to work, right? They have a PD day, kids are off, they can't stay home, so you're able to bring them to the office, and again, you're having that personal come into coexistence with the professional. All right. So the biggest thing about that is flexibility, and with this flexibility, many people are able to achieve this satisfaction. Now, with this satisfaction, it's because um, they are being efficient in both areas, right? They're being able to complete tasks in their professional, in their jobs, as well as be able to complete their personal as well. So when you're able to find that nice balance between the two, there's a lot of satisfaction that's gained. Um, and again, that's because you're able to um, be efficient in both areas of your life, right? So, however, in the same token or in the same sentence, when there is not that balance with that flexibility, there can be an adverse effect, meaning that there can be a disadvantage to that as well too, right? So to the point to where there is no balance. So you're doing more, let's say, in your professional, right? And that's taken away from your personal, or vice versa, you're doing more in the personal and that's taken away from the professional. So again, with that flexibility, we're trying to find that balance to where these two coexist and that um, we're equally satisfied with the amount that we're putting in a professional and as well in our personal. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. So our next one is work-life balance. So again, quickly, our definition of person equally prioritizes the demands of their career and their life outside of it. Okay, so for this one, brings us to our next point of boundaries. So for this one, boundaries are clearly defined. So with work-life integration, there was a mixing, right? There's a commingling. The two coexisted, right? They were not separated. But with work-life balance, the two are separated. They're not together. So with that, that means that clear boundaries are defined, right? So that might be, hey, my work hours are from 8 to 4, and between 8 to 4 is just work. From 4 to 9 p.m. or till 8 the next morning, that's my personal time, right? So they're two distinctions, and these things don't overlap. Once 4 o'clock hits, I'm done doing work, and then now I transition into my personal life. For some of us, we go pick up our kids, we go home, got to make dinner, got to do this, got to run errands, got to go grocery shopping. The two are different, right? Just a quick example. Let's say work life integration would be, hey, I was able to start my work at home, and let's say I completed a task, and then I do a quick grocery shop run, right? So that would be a quick example of work-life integration, a work-life balance, again, clearly defined lines. And so once work is done, it's done. I don't think about it. I move on until the next day, right? So boundaries are clearly defined. Now, with that being said, boundaries are easily blurred. And the reason being brings us to our third point here. Excuse me. Brings us to our third point here is that it's difficult to maintain this today because everything is so remote, meaning that everything is so accessible. We have our cell phones, we have our laptops, we have all these things that making um, work easy and to be able to slip in or to cross those boundaries. So we can say work is done, we at home, for whatever reason, our work phone is still on. And then we have an incoming call comes in and we know that it's an important call because we have spoken to an individual earlier that day during work, and for whatever reason they decide to call outside of the work hours, and it's very easily to be like, you know what, hey, let me grab this because it's very important, right? So again, the lines for work-life balance can be easily blurred because of the accessibility of technology, really, today, right? So work-life balance can look different from day to day. So there might be some days where you might be putting more into your professional. Might be some days you might need to put more into your personal. So an example of professional would be that, hey, I got a huge project coming up, and I might need to work a little bit longer outside of my normal work hours, right? I don't want to go home and do that. I gotta sit down. I gotta focus. I need a clear head. So, um, again, making those clear boundaries, right? So again, that may look different from day to day. However, um, with work-life balance, you're looking to again separate the two and not join them. Okay. So let's move on. So we can quickly watch a video on 10 steps to achieving work-life balance, and then we'll continue on with our presentation.
Here are some suggestions on how to improve your work-life balance. 1. Set your priorities. Begin your workday by prioritizing objectives that need to be accomplished by the end of the day. 2. Concentrate on one thing at a time. Concentrating on a single task will allow you to complete it more quickly, with fewer errors, and affords you the time and concentration to engage more deeply in your remaining objectives or priorities. 3. Track your time. Ask yourself, where do you spend most of your time? How much time do you spend doing the things that matter to you the most? Eliminate things in your life or delegate where possible if they don't align with what matters most. 4. Respect your personal and private time. We often require an emergency to reschedule an important work meeting. Give your personal time the same respect and priority. 5. Take a look at your routines and general lifestyle. By adopting a healthy lifestyle, you can help to maximize your efforts in obtaining work-life balance. 6. Set boundaries. Turn off your cell phone and laptop when having family dinner. Ask friends or family not to interrupt your workday unless it's an emergency. 7. Ask for support and learn to say no. When at capacity, don't overwhelm yourself by taking on more. 8. Get plenty of exercise. Exercise has been shown to relieve stress, clear one's mind, improve one's mood and energy, and ultimately helps to make you more productive. 9. Find a mentor. Do you know someone you admire? Someone with a career or lifestyle you want to emulate? Ask their advice on career and educational development. 10. Evaluate your work-life balance on a regular basis. You'll need to determine what you would like to achieve in the coming months and amend your plan to achieve your objectives.
Okay. So, I think after watching that video, many of you are like, okay, this presentation is about work-life integration. Now, there's work-life integration, and now there's work-life balance. But which one works for me? Which one do I choose? And we'll discuss that a little bit more later on. But again, always keep in mind that um, this looks different for everyone, right? And everyone has the same, personal life, professional life. So again, this can really differ for individuals. Okay. So now let's just talk quickly about tips on integrating work and personal lives. So the first one we're going to do is, what does it mean for you? We're going to ask that question. What does that mean for you? And so some of the questions that you kind of ask yourself to really get the answer or even get the ball rolling is, will it give more time for creative projects? Will this give me a little bit more me time? Will it clear my mind so that once I'm done work, I'm able to, you know, thrive, not only just in my professional, but also in my personal, right? Am I able to get away from work, have a clear mind, and do, what interests me, right? Will it give me more time for creative projects? Second question that you can ask yourself is, will it reduce the stress you feel leaving work at work? So once I'm done work, am I able to get away, not think about it, not um, ponder on how can I improve or do this or do that? But again, will it reduce? So it doesn't say completely eliminate because we know that sometimes things might come to us outside of those times. But again, will it reduce that? So that's what we're looking for. Not completely eliminate, but will it reduce um, some of that level of stress or anxiety that we might feel of upcoming things that we have to get done. So will that reduce that? Third question. Will it help you care for or connect with a friend or family member better? Now, is it something that's going to help with our personal lives, right? Are we going to be able to connect, give more, give not even necessarily give more, but better quality to our friends and loved ones, right? The next question, our final question is: will it free up time for yourself, self-care during the day? And what I mean by that is, let's say that, I don't know, you like to go for walks or bike ride. Will work-life integration help you to not have to wait until the end of the day or into the evening, but are you able to do that during the day? Are you able to use that, remember that word flexibility, to be able to fit some of these things throughout the day and not have them um, have to complete them later on in the day, right? So the main thing that these questions are trying to provide is to gain some clarity, right? To point you in the right direction of, okay, um, this is what I'm looking to achieve. And then now let's figure out how can we get there. Okay, so you can even go to your manager, supervisor, even with some suggestions, right? Like, is it possible to make a more flexible schedule, or is remote work possible for someone in my position, right? So there's some things you can do a little bit of your homework, and come with some suggestions. But again, the main thing is you got to define, what am I trying to achieve with this. Okay, so let's move on to our second point is, be willing to experiment. So with this one, we're looking to make just small changes or small shifts in the right direction, just so that we get a better understanding of, better understanding of self, right? Better understanding of what we want, what we're trying to accomplish. So again, we can go back to the exercising point. Um, are we able to, would we rather, exercise during the day as opposed to having to rush to the gym after work or whatever the case is, right? So if you look here on our slide here, we can call him Jeff, right? So look at Jeff. Jeff looks like, he just finished a meeting and, is very proud of himself. And he's like, you know what, let me go for a little bike ride just to clear my mind, get some exercise, and then I can, kind of head back and to do whatever else I have to do for the rest of the afternoon, right? So again, with that flexibility, we're trying to make subtle changes, right? And that could be as easy as, again, going for a walk or doing whatever exercise that I like to do during the day, as opposed to saying I got to get this work done, and then rush to the gym after, right? So all these subtle differences, do they help, right? Do they help me to perform better in my professional, and as well as do they help me perform better, or relax more, whatever the case is for my personal, right? So just those small changes. Next, we have change of perspective. So for this one, it's simply between flexibility versus routine. So what I mean by that is with our flexibility, we want to make sure that we're not using or abusing this power to just complete a whole bunch of different tasks for the day, right? We're not using this to overwhelm ourselves, but we're using this flexibility to prioritize the most important things for that day and being able to get that done, as opposed to just completing an entire list, right? So again, we need to use this flexibility to our advantage, right? Use it to advantage. Use it to advantage to prioritize, not to um, create this task list of 50 things to do for the day, right? So that's a change of perspective, right? Use the flexibility to your advantage. And last but not least is kick guilt to the curb. So for this one, I just want to read a quick little statistic here. So 67% of people want more time for themselves. And one of three people feel guilty about taking it. So the idea of you should always be working is something we need to let go of. So again, with that flexibility, we want to make sure that we use it to be efficient and to feel accomplished, right? So when we go back to that original definition of, we're trying to find that balance so that people are able to achieve that satisfaction of knowing that they're able to, you know, put sufficient amount of work into the professional, and then as well put a efficient amount into their personal, right? So again, it's using that flexibility, and not feeling overwhelmed when there isn't that balance and feeling and using that work using that flexibility to complete a whole bunch of different things. Then it just seems like you're working 24/7, and you really start to experience that dissatisfaction, and that's not what we want. That's not what we're aiming for, right? So again, we got to kick that guilt to a curb and know that because two things are joined and they coexist, we have to find that balance to where everything is working, everything is flowing, everything is clicking or firing on all cylinders. Okay. So again, the difference between the two is both are valid means of trying to achieve balance, right? Balance between our professional and our personal. Again, they do differ. Work-life integration blends, excuse me, while work-life balance separates. So those are the two. Now, how can employers support? So again, open dialogue. So what does that mean? So I want to use, I guess, the acronym HOT, right? Being honest, open, and transparent as an employee, right? Letting your team leads, supervisors, managers know, what's going on at home, letting them know more about yourself, just so that, again, everything's about efficiency, right? Everything's about efficiency, satisfaction, and getting the best um, out of the individuals, right? So we want to make sure that, again, you're being honest. Talk to them about your home life. So what does that look like? Many of us have kids. Some might be in high school, some might be old in college, some might be young kids, right? Two, three, ages 2, 3, 4, 5. So things look very different. Some of us might have our parents living with us, aunts, uncles, elderly. So there's so many different dynamics. Some of them might be sick and might need home care, whatever it is. Be open, be honest and open to um, leadership, right? And vice versa, leadership. Create that environment to make sure that create that environment so that employees feel that they're able to bring these um, concerns or issues, or just to be bring this dialogue so that they're able to again be efficient, right? We want everyone to thrive in this situation. So again, we want that open dialogue. We want that open communication to be there so that everybody knows that it's a safe space, right? And then third one here, that remote work. Again, if that's something that's possible, then it's an option that you can probably explore. So discussion time. So what I simply want to say to kind of end this presentation is that again, we talked about work-life integration, we talked about work-life balance, right? And that differs for each individual. But what I can say personally for myself is that it's not uh, work-life integration or balance. It's work-life integration and work-life balance. So for me, every day looks different. And with that being said, some days work-life integration works best for myself. Other days work-life balance works best for me. So with myself having, young kids within the home, every couple of weeks they get sick. Whatever the case is, they got to stay home. They can't go to daycare, and so that's the best time where work-life integration, that flexibility, comes in handy. That I'm able to be flexible and be able to do both, take care of the kid and still complete um, my job duties, right? And there's other days where it's got to be work-life balance, where I got to head to the office and get a whole bunch of things done, and I need that space to focus and concentrate. Where the two, trying to mix the two, just won't work for myself anyway, right? So again, question is, what works for you, right? What are you trying to achieve? What are your priorities? What are things that are going to give you that satisfaction? So again, for me, it's work-life balance and work-life integration. For some people, it might just be integration, or it might be just work-life balance. But again, everyone is different, and really take some time to think about it, right? Really take some time to figure out your situation and what works best. All right. So again, thank you so much. Just want to thank you for being a part of this presentation. Again, this is just a great starting point. This is not all the information that there is, but it's just a starting point to start having the discussion of, okay, how can I build that trust with my employees? Vice versa, how can I build that trust with my employer? And how can we both grow, right? So again, thank you so much. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I'll make sure on the next slide here, you can definitely contact the EIA. Excuse me. And again, if you need more information, just shoot us an email and be more than happy to get that to you. So again, thank you so much, and have yourself a great day.